check, check. Right. Be running. Right. Check, check. Right. Be running. Right. The first aid. Check, check. Right. Be running. Right. The first aid. Check, check. Right. Be running. Right. The first aid. Ending.
I would have been done.
Done. Exactly what you mean.
It's easier for these WVR guys because a lot of their events, those guys that are there are all evening, like late evening. I remember when my schedule was messed up and I had to do a lot of late night rides.
Yeah.
And it was like pretty much with all those guys.
Really? Andy took a look at a bunch of these races. It seems probably matched up, probably on the low A's, if not just a little stronger, so it should be a pretty good match, number-wise. Jerry pulled some numbers of his races, the same courses that we raced in CVR, and his times are pretty close. I was never with the A group for a lot of those races. I was with them for a good amount, but I would always end up being even behind you a lot of the time, dropping back, so hopefully I've got legs for this one.
Yeah.
And the lot during the CVR race, I was getting ready to make this move to the new house, so hopefully it brought legs to now that I've been here for a little bit. I finally got the garage down below 80 degrees, so I was having trouble getting the garage to cool. Bad.
You moved now, right?
I did, yeah, city of Rancho Cucamonga. We're all set up now.
How is it now without the big, the lounge?
Yeah, everyone asks. It was something that we had gotten used to there. I was about 10 years, but now the kind of cool things are you can like sleep with the windows open now. Like have like the cool air come in, which is nice. I hadn't ever been able to do that, I guess. Little things.
Yeah.
I forgot to bring a power up in with me.
I was gonna ask. I've never used one. If we could use it out the gate, how do we use those?
You've got till you go under the start finish banner.
Use it in case of. This is the course that has that long, kind of that longer uphill on the back side of it.
Yeah.
I think like
So
during
this has got the kick out the tunnel. And I can't remember what the course is. I really can't remember.
Yeah. I think this is the course that the women had their race points, whatever.
Greater flat on we on.
Down coming in through my.
I got you. 5 speed. Which one is Haskell going to be in the CVR World Cup speeding? Doing the speeding there?
He should. He should be. That's what I'm waiting for him to come in as.
I just got notification they went live.
Him or us?
There you go.
There he is.
There he is.
Can't hear him though. How come? Let's see. Okay.
It happens. We've been building brackets all season long, and these brackets are starting to fall. We are here in Zone A for the big finish of the second season of CVR World Cup, and it's going to be an exciting one. We'll tell you just about some of those in just a moment, and of course they're going to be
Love
racing.
to hear him on.
But all of this has been leading up to the big event, which will be in Vancouver, British Columbia. This will be the live event, the CVR World Cup Big event that's going to happen there. Now, this league has been going on for about 8 weeks plus 4. This is the 12th week of the second British Columbia season. This CVR World Cup League, and these folks are going to be racing virtually and, well, on real bikes, as you'll see.
Good morning, everybody on our side of the stream.
These,
got Chris Haskell there in the background.
A little bit about who is shaping up and
me,
what
Adam Boyko, Andy Jenner, and Tex Devine here.
Of course, that is the London course. You know this London flat course.
You got it, Tex.
Beautiful one, and we're going to race it well today. And it's going to be a big one for us today. Here's what's going to happen. Let me tell you just a little bit about this. Now, nice and flat all the way through the London extension, the big long flat loop. This is where the sprinters come out to play. No more can people hide behind their ability to climb up that hill really fast. They're just not going to be able to do it here today. And here's who we've got on the list. Jason Flores is one of those guys, facing off against Fraser White, both of them in the pen today. Just in this, a little bit later in the B zone, you can see Jeff Creel and Kim Little battle it out. Friends, teammates, hard to tell. They're going head-to-head today in Zone B. Also in Zone B, Anya Lundorf and Dixie Newsom. Dixie Newsom will be in Vancouver at the end of the week. This may be just a tune-up race for her. Mary Still and Eva Buchholz from Germany are going to battle it out also in that B division. Then moving on, of course, to Zone C. This is what's going to happen here. Lisa Hines and Tracy Vogel battling it out in Zone C for their chance at the top of this leaderboard. Of course, Scott Urisa and Jason, I'm going to give it my best, Economo. I screwed it up. I apologize, Jason. Jason E. is going to be battling it out. Marlene Barhade and Angela Pfizer. Hey, it's late, but that's pretty good for me. Also, now Zone E, I'm going to call with my guy Frank. We're going to do that, and Jeff Rooney and Jeff Long are going to show you who's going to be top of the D division. They're going to be able to do it right there. Also,
here we go.
Same zone, Claire Snowden and Katie Levy are going to put that together again for that women's Zone D. It's almost time to go into the pen here. In fact, it is time to go in the pen. There's one more that we did not include in there, Zone H. We're going to have another championship between those folks. This is what we see here in Zone H, and guess who we've got? Also getting ready to stream for us. We're going to rely on heavily on this guy, Jason Flores. He is one of the racers, and it's what it looks like when he comes flying out of the gate. Here we go, the big start, and they're about to kick it off right now. Big explosion out the gates. We jump on board immediately with any of these folks that we can find. Look who showed up. Mike Davis. It's 11 o'clock on the West Coast for him. He is racing for his Team X teammate right there. But Jason Flores kicking it into high gear. He's going to put himself in that group at the front of the race. This is the big B opportunity, rather C race for Jason Flores from Team ODZ. They're going to be racing the big race here today. You'll notice there are a few other folks out there for Team ODZ. There are a number of folks. Look at all those guys dropping those power-ups all throughout this. I'll explain what that is in just a minute. But this man, I am Batman. That'd be Tex Devine. He's not going to get any points today. He's racing. But look at this sea of jerseys that are so similar. You see the light blue and orange of Team ODZ. You see the light blue, white, and red. Very reminiscent of the good old pro cycling days. But that's Team WBR, and there's a big attack off the front. There's Team ODZ right there. Jason Flores, we're on board with him right now. As we look at his view inside of the peloton, this is what Jason sees from his point of view. He's streaming both angles. He's showing you what it looks like when he races, and he also shows you what it's like when what he sees. He sees a man off the front there. We see it as well. But Andy Jenner, his trusted lieutenant, is the guy who's going to help keep him in this race today. Andy Jenner from the UK and Jason Flores from the US are both virtual teammates. Another big kick off the front there happening again. Andy Jenner just making sure. But look who else is there with their guy, Andy Boyko, another Team ODZ. They have come out just like Team WBR to get their guy the race race today. Clemas from Race WBR. Now, the World Bike Relief is a big organization, but the racers all carry that Race WBR. Folks like James Marston right there. Not the actor James Marston, at least not that we know. Mike Ray from Team Race WBR also in there. Baird, the man, and Frank White. There are a lot of Race WBR riders today. That's going to change the dynamic today in this race. It's going to make guys like Jason Flores rely heavily on his teammates to be able to pull this one out. And you know what? They are the type of team that can do it. We expect big things from them. Okay, as we shape up to make this the race that you want it to be, and I guarantee you it's going to be an exciting one. No one in this group is going to let this slip away today. As we look on board with Jason Flores here in just a moment, this man turns 40 this week. In fact, this weekend, he's going to turn the big 4-0, but he is turning the big 4-0 watts per kilo right now in this big race. As we look on board with Jason Flores, we see his point of view. You can check this out and lots of other cool data over at the CVR World Cup site. That would be CVRWorldCup.com. And you can see all of those great things there. We're going to rely on his view quite a bit today. Adam Boyko, another rider in this race today, racing for Jason Flores. These guys are a pretty tough slot on the West Coast. Very early, 5 a.m. is when they do their normal race. We see the big view as they come by here. They're about to make the big turn, climb up the one meaningful puncher that we've got today. But Adam Boyko in a sea of blue and red right there. That is Team WBR, and they are out in force. My goodness, that is a fancy looking team right there. Hope that the stream is coming through well for you. The render time a little bit high, but I think it'll drop down here shortly. Actually, the render time is really low, hovering at 60 frames per second. We're giving you a great view today. Okay, one of the things that we got to pay close attention to as we get this, we're going to give you some instant replay today. Very excited to be able to bring that to you, and it is part of the miracle of this beautiful broadcast that we have going today to be able to bring you these big and exciting events. Okay. As we look on board here, they come by. They're about to go under the bridge here. That is the bridge that would be, featured in most of the Bond movies. It's a good one. But this is what our guy Jason Flores sees on the front. Remember that the man he's trying to beat is right there in the race, and he is Whiteside, and he is covered and marked by so many of these riders. And here it goes, starting to kick up right now. We'll give you the main view again. We look at his teammate. I am Batman. That is again Tex Divine. Jason Flores trolling the front. He's got his lieutenants right there, ready to do what he needs to do. Batman not very far behind him. Boyko just a little bit further. But Race WBR is trying to set a pace here to put him in a little bit of hurt. This is the only meaningful climb that we're going to see throughout this race. They come up through Trafalgar Square. They turn on to the Strand. This is something we're going to see this section a number of times during this race today. Okay, as they're kicking it around here, they are still in what would be described as the lead-in section. Looking at it from Jason Flores' point of view, it is painful and he is working hard. This is what he sees, but he's got his teammates in front of him. All he needs is a wheel. The distress on his face. Man, he's doing a good job right there. Great background, Jason. Gotta love it when people drop in the green screen, get that background a-kicking for us. Looking good there. Okay. Back on board with the rest of the crew here. We see what's going on. Richards in the group right there. Looking behind, we're starting to lose riders a little bit off the back. Is there anybody who's in a big spot? Ooh, tail gunning at the back of the group. Andy Jenner, one of the guys that Team ODZ is counting on today. And then sliding back into the group there for Team ODZ is Adam Boyko. You look over the shoulder behind him, you see that there's not much left behind, but these guys are surrounded by a sea of WBR. It looks like he has 4 teammates in the race for him today. Now, there can be a number of folks who are loyal to a guy like Jason Flores or loyal to a guy like White, but they're not going to maybe be wearing the same jersey. You can tell those strong teammates definitely there. We see one Team Experimental actually two Team Experimental folks in there. Sometimes confused for the Alienware kit. The computer that they are playing on automatically triggers that cool green and white. It's very similar to the look of Team Experimental. But it looks like it is White who's in there right now. Actually, we've got two White to pay close attention to. The one that Flores is racing, we'll give you him in just a second. But that was a little bit of a dangerous move that kicked up there. And that's not the kind of thing that, you know, a team like this wants to see. Dangerous things can happen when you get kicked off the back there. Now, as we look on board with Jason Flores here, he is doing a nice job. It's going to relax a little bit here. We've got one big attack off the front, but that is not a rider we're paying close attention to today. Bordieri is not
nice job,
one
Adam.
of the guys
nice job.
paying close attention. He's just not one of the guys in the race here today. Okay. Richards, White, and of course I Am Batman, again, not to be confused with Tex Divine. It is actually Tex Divine, is just making sure that he is in that group with his teammate. They're going to do a nice job today of just keeping him settled, right? Keeping him in a comfortable position, keeping him in a place where they can just keep him close, right? Keep him where he needs to be. They want to pull back. Honestly, they don't care about anybody else except for Whiteside. That is who he is racing today, and that is the way that this is shaping out. All right, in here in just a second, I want to give you a better look at the standings for this event today. We want to see what's going on current, and we want to bring these riders up. We're looking at C here, postseason. For our folks, we'll try to bring that up for you here. I want to try to bring it up on a screen here. I think I can do that for you here. A lot going on, of course, but not so much that we can't enjoy this. Jason did a lot of work for teammates throughout the year, but finds himself now in a position where he is the last man standing on his team toward the big finish here. All right, let's kick back over to his point of view, which I think we're going to rest on more than a couple of times in the next little bit. We want to pay close attention to what he's looking at. But you'll notice that he has a second stream going as well. It looks like he's actually brought up our main stream so he can hear his voice called and his name called. You're looking pretty good, Mr. Flores there.
Yeah,
Keep
good.
up the good work, my
Good.
man.
Good pace.
You know,
Steady,
smile
solid.
occasionally. Ride one-handed if you can. Maybe ride with no hands. That wouldn't
Drive
be
something
a
else
bad
up
thing.
this ramp,
You're
I
pretty
reckon.
safe there. You're not on like Scotty Weiss level rollers. But as we kick around through this group, we notice that there are a number of things worth our attention. Let me close a piece down here. It's going to give us just a little bit more operating room, and in fact, it did almost immediately. This will clean up nicely here as we look at Whitesides and what they're trying to accomplish here. You'll notice he's in a little bit more of a kind of a off the back kind of position. He's got his teammates trying to make sure that they can bring him back into this, but this might not be exactly what he is hoping for today. In fact, I can tell you without a doubt, it's not. They found him just trimmed off the back here a little bit. I want one more verification that I am identifying the right rider. But Jason's in a good spot. They are about 33 kilometers away from finishing this. We kick back to that guy in the pen there, and we'll go back to, of course, Jason in his purview. We'll get these guys back on the board for you. There's Bordieri. I've got him in my sights right now. Moat Team WBR will get back in there with the folks in this group. Now, what's really important here is that we get a sense of what is happening for these guys.
Morning, Daniel.
As
Thanks for jumping in.
Number one
I know it's late.
opponent for him today,
Early.
Jason Flores,
Early.
is Fraser White. We keep calling White sides. That's a mistake.
1:21 a.m.
It's Fraser White that we're paying close attention to here, and we're going to kick things into his space right now. Fraser White is the guy, and there's a big attack coming right there. We see it from Jason's point of view, and was it an attack or was it just an attempt to get up to the front here? There's only one way to find out, and that is to play. We're going to instant replays into his space right now. Fraser White is the guy, and there's a big attack coming right there. We see it from Jason's point of view, and was it an attack or was it just an attempt to get up to the front here? There it is. In fact, we find ourselves back in the mix with the rest of these.
Let's hold that wheel, Adam.
Give you a little bit more of what's going on here as we look around the field. I'll give you some
Let him drag it down.
other riders. If you are just joining us, you're like, what is going on here? Yes, hardest video game ever. And in the upcoming week, we're going to find ourselves, of all places, in Vancouver, British Columbia, to do a big live race. I'll tell you a little bit more about that momentarily. May even show you some of the elements from it that are going to be so critically important. Okay, we want to bring in the rest of this race here so you can see more of it.
What was that
going on the course right now?
Andy, what was that?
These guys are really fighting and trying to stay in with the group there, trying to make sure that that they keep their different guys. And that would be, of course, Fraser White.
Yeah, I'm
Jason
dealing with the
Flores
important things.
battling it out for this
I think we've got a
big final
sock
winning
we'll wear
position.
because WBR
This
looks
would
quite
be
good.
huge. What a birthday present for Jason Flores, who would love more than anything to be able to get into that group, that elite group that says, I am a champion of a zone. And the C zone this year, which he was placed into initially, not at all what any of us expected. It has turned out to be something different entirely. Very, very tough, without a doubt. Okay, so we are going to we're going to try a little something different here to get us back into it. A few things that kind of have to happen in the mix to make broadcasting like this a little easier, and one of them is an emulator which keeps our rider in line with the rest of the folks. I'll bring him up in just a second. Kick it back up here. Make sure that we can ride with our guy Jason Flores. It looks like we're about to be able to pull him back into the full well. We see his view, which is absolutely fabulous. And we're going to jump on board with this group and ride with this group. We should be able to see them shortly. And there we are. We'll have to focus on it just a little bit differently to get the exact view that we want in this frame, but I'm sure that we can do it. All right, back on board with these riders. We'll look at the view of Mr. I Am Batman Tex Divine, and let's talk a little bit about this incredibly flat section.
Well, Trent, thanks for joining in.
Moving to the front there. There's Jason Flores, now the third rider back as his teammates. Now he kicks out to the other side here. Doesn't matter. He needs to stay within the draft here. But as we look on board with him, we see what he sees. And he sees a lot of guys in front of him. A little bit of a push right there. He's looking around. The guy that he needs to pay attention to is F. White. Fraser White is the man that he is trying to race to get this championship right now. And doing a nice job at that. The overhead view, which we'll bring in right now, gives you just a little bit more of a perspective of what this group looks like. As we look overhead here, nice and flat, see hardly any rise here. You just don't want to let these folks get away. You got to keep your eye on Jason Flores if you're a team Race WBR, and you got to keep your eye on Fraser White if you are team ODZ. ODZ is really outnumbered today, and that is a scary thing for them. They certainly don't want to be in a position where they can get abused. But right now, it seems to be a pretty pace, pretty high pace for any of these folks. As we look back at the point of view of Jason Flores, we see where his heart rate is at right now, which is right up in the high 160s. And for a guy of his age, did I mention he's turning 40 this week? that's a pretty good zone to be in. No one can fault me for that. The overhead view shows how spread out they can get at times, but this is not incredibly fast, holding about 28 miles per hour on a flat in a big group. Not impossible. Starting to drift apart a little bit here. Could this be a move by Team ODZ? Just a little bit of a kick here may indicate that they're trying to spread things out. It gets long and thin, and that is dangerous for Team WBR. Okay, coming around the corner here, we see this from the perspective of Jason Flores. I would love to bring you the perspective of Fraser White, but he is not currently broadcasting his point of view, and that makes it hard for us to bring it in. All right, but I think I'm going to be able to give you a couple of others that are in the group. In fact, one man who may, in fact, be racing for Jason Flores as well. Hopefully, I'll be able to bring you this without much interruption in our service today. I'm going to add that additional input right now, which I am able to do. I sound like Perd Hapley just describing everything that I am trying to do in, step by step here. But that's just kind of how I'm going to have to do it today. All right. We're going to be able to bring you another angle here in just a moment, show you the perspective of Mike Davis, who is a well-known rider who competed in the big event.
Get ready, boys.
In where was it? Oh, it was in a little place called.
You going up? It's not us, right? No.
Stay so far. Watch for a jump from White there.
I can't find him.
He's behind us.
Thank you.
4.8, he's going 4.6. Right behind Boyko.
Copy that. Got him. Let him roll. Good job. Nice job, Plugs. That guy on a TT bike? He is.
Okay, White's with us. Okay, here we go. Pay attention. Get up here. Let's go. White's pushing.
efforting it out here. They are on lap 1 of 3 still. He's going to get hard on the back of his team there. Actually, it's Baird, not his teammate, but that would be Fraser White's teammate. Now trying to close the gap up there to the rider in the front, who I do not recognize. But as we come back into this real time, we see that the group comes back together. They find themselves all together in this main group right there. And they are a nice, big, collective group. And as we peek at the overall group here, we see so many folks hanging on to this nice flat lap. You know what? I think I might have been able to hang on to this nice flat lap today. Well, I could have gotten dropped right back there on that section. Off the front to no one's real concern is Husband. The INC rider. No one, well, I guess Smith. Maybe going to stretch up there, try to get off the front. Very attentive as always. Jason Flores doing nice work, just staying within.
Good job, fellas. You're
Trying to
great.
get his heart rate down. It is elevated just a little bit in the
Morning, Nadia.
last wee bit.
Thanks for joining in.
Look at the details of Mr. White. His heart rate is quite a bit lower. A younger man in general. He finds that he's been doing a nice job. In fact, slower cadence here, but 144 beats a minute. It would be nice to be able to see him in the mix here and see what it looks like when he races. No doubt about the power being put out by this man, Jason Flores. He's doing nice work at the front. But look who's going. No, I take it back. He's not separated. He's sitting at the front of the group where we would expect him to be. That's Mike himself. Mike Davis in a, well, right here in this spot of the course as they come back through in front of the Palace under the big finish. Often generates a little bit of a kick from the group because they want to come across first here. We see the view
is the mileage working
as he enters the red carpet a moment ago.
Copy that.
In
Thank
a
you.
nice position there at the front.
I see it now.
Okay, back on board with the rest of the crew here. We see them coming across that line and in a nice tight group. Baird has been basically given the green light to go for the win here today for race WBR. Everyone else in the group is going to attend to the needs of that man, Fraser White, who is the man that they're trying to get on the podium this second season of the CVR World Cup League. This is the final bracketed postseason match in the C category. Now, we are racing in Zone A. There are 8 global zones that we participate in through the process here. And it is really cool to see all of the racing that has been happening. In a moment here, I'll give you just a little bit of the details of what we're racing today and who is racing. I think it's really important
Who's that?
to have
Davis X.
so let me just give you a little bit of that right now.
This is probably
Of
working
course,
for us because
we are
strong
on
non-WBR
London
are going
flat
up the
here,
road.
and what we're
So
doing
it's
is
pretty
we
easy
are
to
showing you the
manage.
league as it happens. Jason Flores and
Watch out for
Fraser
Ray
White are
Riley.
competing today here in Zone A. This is the time they agreed on to put this in the books. Next in Zone B, you'll see Jeffrey Creel and Kim Little do their work in the race. That'll be Zone B in just about 2.5 hours. Also in that zone, Anya Lewandorf and Dixie Newsom. That is the group that's going to be facing off in that race. Now, as we look overhead here, Fraser White is one of the 2 riders that we're paying close attention to in this zone. The other, his number 1 competitor, the man vying aim spot, Jason Flores. Heart rates are quite a bit different at this point. Looks to be about a 30-point spread. Fraser White, now heart rate is not a sign of everything, but it is an indication of overall effort. White able to really calm his engine right there. He also has many more teammates. In the mix, let's give you just a sense of who is racing with Jason Flores. I do not see... Oh, there they are. Three guys right there in the ODZ jerseys right around him. You see I Am Batman, that is Tex Devine. You see another gentleman, Adam Boyko, who actually was in the A division and vying for that top spot most of the season. You also see Andy Jenner. If there was an E category, he'd be in it. E for just effervescent, for energetic, evil, any E word you can think of. That describes our guy Andy Jenner pretty well. Good dude, though. Well, allegedly. Okay. As we look on board, we see that Jason, this is a little bit late in the day for him. I've been unable to verify what zone Mr. White is in, Fraser White. But this group has thinned dramatically. We saw early on that that those folks were working really, really hard to get their guys off the front, and it has settled down more than a little bit.
Watch it.
Okay. Here we go. As we peek at what else is going on in the big field here, I want to bring just some of the excitement that already happened. There we go. Got to make sure that we give you the right angles for all of
still
these.
back here doing calls.
Copy that. Letting them roll.
Okay. In form of a replay, this is what we saw. Okay. Early on, just a little bit here, we were coming up and out of the hill. A little bit of a gap. I Am Batman actually pulled it back for Team ODZ and was able to get his guy back into the group. Again, we transitioned to overhead. This is real time. This is now, ladies and gentlemen. These are our guys in the field. Race WBR doing good work keeping their guy, Fraser White, nice and tight in the group. On board with Jason Flores, we see what he sees. And a little bit of what we see. Trying to get a sense of what's happening in the race. That's completely legal in this e-sport. You can listen to the commentators and get ideas and strategy from them. We've got I Am Batman right here in a nice little group.
Yeah, I see him.
Gap happening, but we do not have any big explosive
Yeah, we should have maybe pushed and
Barely
made a gap,
from Race WBR is the guy leading the charge here, but it looks like Baird may
Hold this
get
text.
away.
Don't close.
As well, Mike did.
Yeah,
Let's take a
let
look
these
at
guys
that
go.
group
If
right
WR
now.
don't close
We
it.
jump on board.
More WR
Actually,
to go off the
now
front.
we jump
Yeah,
on board
from
with
the
Mike
back.
Davis. Sweating big time. He is also California, I believe, Bay Area, and he's battling it out with Baird and Husball and Bordiari, excuse me, and doing a nice job at the front. They are racing this race to win this race, to get better at racing, and to show what they are made of. But these guys back here,
White's
Jason
moving.
Flores and his number one
Close the gap on
competitor,
them. Now.
Fraser White, are battling it out for something different. And their teams are doing it too. I have to tell you, this is one of those things that happened last postseason that surprised us. Okay, you know what? We got
What the hell?
attention here. Going to jump back on board with the group, starting to spread out just a little bit more. Got to be careful of what's happening there. Uh-oh, this is not what you want to see. Now, Fraser White's still in the group with them. You see ODZ, but this may be an opportunity, and Jason Flores is taking advantage of it. Right there. He's jumping off the front here. We look on board with him. He sees a little opportunity maybe to jump up there, and White is going to try to follow him. What's going on? Counterattack coming. Flores has to respond now. It's Swatton and Rice trying to get off the front. This could be a big move for them if Fraser can get off the front. But it looks like he's going to not be able to. He's right there next to Flores, and they are marking him very, very closely. That move by Swatton was something pretty exciting there. They really tried to see if they
That's us, right?
get him back. And he's still digging it there. Maybe trying to catch on to Baird, going to counterattack over the top and see if they can't pull back this trio. They pulled them back really, really fast. Okay, back on board with White. He's going to try to bridge up there. This is a little bit of a cool move there. He's trying to bridge up, but who is going to come with him? But I Am Batman and the rest of the team trying to make those gaps all close right there. As we see it from the perspective just a moment ago from Jason Flores, trying to do good, hard work there. More and more counterattacks coming from the field. We don't want to take you too far away from that. Clemas now trying to bridge up. Mike Davis trying to get away as well in that group. But where are the men that we need to pay attention to for the C Championship? They are just a little bit further behind, but never very far apart. Flores now in front of White. Those are the two that we are paying attention to. And a moment ago, this was the effort put in by Mr. Flores, trying to make big things happen. And that's what you have to do. You can see lighting up on his screen, J-Flow, Batman. You see their audio coming through, splashing on his screen. That's because that's where it shows up. He's got the Discord overlay. His teammates are talking to him, and they're keeping him in this. Big, big effort by these guys. Okay, Boyko and Andy Jenner now with a big move of note, trying to separate this group a little bit more. And look, they've got it super strung out. This is exciting stuff. Wow, I can't even believe it. Okay, a moment ago, this is what you saw, right? You saw just a big push by Swatton right there to try to break it up. Not long after, you saw this man right here. That would be Frazier White. Try to bridge up. There he goes, trying to cover across that little section there. But who would respond very quickly? Team ODZ bringing him back into the fold. Adam Boyko, of course, Tex Divine, I Am Batman, and Andy Jenner shepherding their guy through the process here. As we are on board again with the main group, we see that ODZ trolling the front, setting the pace. Now, we are deep into, well, about a little bit into the second lap of this three-lap race. We see when we look at Jason Flores and what's on his screen, we see the distances still remaining in this group, right? That they're on lap 2 of 3, about halfway through. About 16 miles to go. That's what we see, and that's what it is. In a moment, we'll check in with what's going on social media. But first, I just want to give you a little bit more of what is going to continue to happen in these postseason races. We covered Zone A, we covered Zone B, and now we mention one more in Zone B, Mary Still and Ava Buchholz going for their first championship each. And in Zone C, that's the one that Casey Shum calls. We're going to see Lisa Hines and Tracy Vogel doing their best work. Not too much happening in the race right now. A little bit of a quiet moment for those guys. Scott Arista and Jason Economo are also battling it out for that C title in that. Also, Marlene Gerhardt and Angela Weiser doing a big turn of race there. Zone E is the one that is going to be huge. Calling that with my man Frank Garcia a little bit later today. Jeff Rooney and Steve Fung. I'm going to show you who's at the top of that heap. Then, of course, we have Claire Snowden, Katie Levy battling it out in that division as well. That's going to be the big battle, of course, in the E division. All right, back to what's going on the course right here. We would need to keep you up to date on all the things in this race. But it is pretty much the way it has been thusly. I want to jump in real quick and get a sense of what's going on our different social media platforms and maybe report a little of that to you, if you don't mind. I don't think you will. It'll be pretty good, actually. Okay, but we've got a big group on Mixer that joins us most races, and oh my!
Hey, White's with him. White's with him.
Lots of stuff going on there. Not tonight, though. But we do know we've got it going on Facebook, and I want to check in and see who's watching it because we do love our fans. Okay, thank you for joining us in these places. Do not miss what's going to come up this week. All right, we're going to stay on board real quick and talk about what's happening on this hill. Andy Jenner on the front for Team ODZ, looking maybe to see if anybody's going to try to create some action on there. There's an 11-second gap to that group. Baird flexes just a little bit, and there it goes. They start to push a little bit harder. Fraser White not far off, but Jason Flores, who we're looking through his eyeballs right now, or just were a moment ago, we're going to find that he does what he needs to do to stay in the front. All right, if you are joining us on Facebook or watching us on the CycleView app, let us know what you think. Eugene Chan said he is hurting. LOL. It's not funny, Eugene. Well, actually, it kind of is. Johnny Noblet, nice riding flow. We love us some Johnny Noblet. He is quality, good dude. A little too tall for my taste, but he's there. We've got Chris Radley saying, go Frazier. We've got Andy Jenner saying, help. Allison Kubota, Stephen Tweedy joining us, also checking this one out. And Carrie Smith. WBR relentless. Keep hammering them, and they are. In fact, happening again right now as Beerley really tries to put the hammer down. Andy Jenner and Jason Flores, all of the Team OTZ guys in the chase there. Now, I'm a big fan of Race WBR. They have put together something special here. Mike Davis still getting away with it on the front right there as he comes up through this section out of the saddle, 3%. It is starting to line out to chase him back, and here is what we see. They are, in fact, trying to chase him back. Jason Flores, from his point of view, is in this kind of pain as he comes up and over. My goodness, the sweat is real, the concern is real, the pain is real, but his teammates are going to keep him there. I love me some Team Race WBR, but I have to point out and make mention of the absolute truth of the matter, which is this right here. This is an ODZ t-shirt. I'm an ODZ founder. I'm going to be rooting. I have no other thing I can do but call the race as I see it. But this is a very personal race for me, and I'm not going to lie. I'll call you the best race that I can. But in my heart of hearts, I'm hoping for a Team ODZ victory. Sorry. Full disclosure. Would you rather have full disclosure, or me just make it up or just say it as I go here? Eugene, Allison, I'll sub for you in Vancouver. I'll bet you would, Eugene. Johnny Noblet back in the house. Thank you for joining us again, Mr. Noblet. We love you. Quick, send me a graphic. I know if anybody can send me a graphic, it's you, real fast. All right, we will chime in with those other graphics here in just a moment. Okay, as we look on board here with the group proper, we see a number of things happening. We check out this overhead view. It is a washing machine. Everyone is moving around. Mike Davis back in the main group right here, and they are pushing hard. The man who has been teetering at the back of this field just a little bit more than probably his teammates would like to see is Mr. Fraser White. His heart rate's still very, very low, much lower than Jason Flores, about 50 beats per minute. That is a curious heart rate, and I'm not saying that because I doubt that heart rate, but that is some relaxed pedaling that's going on there. He's running his heart rate. That's really good. You know what it could be? The heart rate could actually be on a loved one nearby, you know, and their relative stress level. No, I'm just making it up. That's not what's happening. Allison Kubota is going to be one of those folks in Vancouver, and we're going to be excited to bring you those big races, those big events as we get closer.
Okay,
that's going to take place this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, and the race format is unbelievable. Excited to be able to bring you that here very, very shortly. I get to be up there. I get to be on the desk with two people I respect and admire and a little bit jealous of, if we're being completely honest. That would be Beth York commentating next to me during the men's race, and Jesper Anker with me on the desk for the women's race. We have never casted together. It could be exciting. It could be a fist fight. There could be meaningful looks and glances that take place. We could look into each other's eyes. We could have a moment. It's hard to say. It's hard to say what's going to happen. But if you tune into Vancouver, you'll be able to see that, and you won't be disappointed. That I can promise you. All right. back on board with the shenanigans here in the race. We know from Jason's perspective, we are well past the halfway point. We are into lap 3. And how much does he have left in the tank? His face shows the effort that he's putting out, but he's putting out a lot of effort. And he's got to put out a lot of effort to be able to get to where he wants to in this match. Very, very strong effort by him. Okay, looking on board with what's happening here again in the main field, we see all of the Team WBR folks placed in that position. Let's talk strategy for a second. If Frank Garcia was here, he would say that the right time to attack is now. That if Team Race WBR was going to make a move, that they would stretch it out right here and they would get as much value out of this chunk of the course as they could, because they've got some time to recover. Maybe you can knock one of ODZ's folks off. Maybe you can separate Jason Flores. Those are probably not likely. The best you can hope for is maybe to add more fatigue to them so that they're unable to do what they need to. Now, on the strategy side for ODZ,
boys are taking good care
they
of
are
me.
outnumbered, right? So what you want is a situation where you don't have to race with all those guys. If Frazier White can put together a honking huge train, maybe he can. I'm not really sure about his sprint numbers. I can tell you he wouldn't be at this point in the postseason. He wouldn't be in the championship bracket against Flores if he wasn't good at the finish of a race. He would have been eliminated. He would have lost points. He wouldn't be here now. But because Frazier White has all of these teammates, it benefits him quite a bit. Now, it looks to me that all involved are trying to relax a little bit as the time ticks down. We're actually talking kilometers, not miles here. Also in this group, you'll notice another gentleman. That would be, of course, Mr. Mike Davis, showing his skills relative to the rest of the group as he floats from time to time to the front. But also Jason Flores doing great work in the group. Here is what we see. They are so grateful to not have to take the big right-hand turn, left-hand turn and go up that hill. In fact, they're taking the long way. They've got a little bit of a 1% little kick up here to get there. Mike Davis has decided to go off the front. But all of those who are loyal to either Flores or White are gathering around. Fogarty is in there, rocking that unique jersey. We're like, what are you doing, dude? Who are you? Why are you here? There he is, sitting on the front of the group right now. You see ODZ trolling the front again, and you see just a little bit of the Race WBR.
I think you're triggering each other rather than anyone having a tactic.
You've got all of their boys there right now for ODZ. Everyone who started with the group. Big move coming by Jason Flores. This could be an attack of note. What is going on? Maybe he was just covering back to the position that he was there. They all respond. Race WBR says, there goes White. He's going to get on the wheel of White. This is a big move, a big meaningful move. What is going on here? They're just trying to get a little bit punchy and try to break things up.
Okay, watch him. He's got
it's going to happen. These guys are kind of still doing their thing. A moment ago, this is what happened. Here's the replay. As we see it from this angle, Boyko trying to get up and out of the saddle, and White coming up and over the top. He sees the action by Flores and gets up and out of the saddle again. A lot of work happening here for these folks. We jump back on board with Mr. Flores, and we see what he is doing here. This is the type of race that you want to be able to have a great success in, and it looks like our guy right now is having great success staying in this group. His fatigue, you can see it on his face. The heart rate of his competitor, White, a little bit lower than his. That's always dangerous. But again, we do not race by heart rate. We race by many, many other things. So Jason Flores getting a little bit of a drink now. He knows that the end game is coming soon, and he's put in a really hard second season to be able to get to the place that he is now. We jump back on board with Jason Flores. We can see the group here, and here's what we've got to look at. Okay, back on board. Let's get some prognostication from the group. Michael Newsom says, show the front. You know what, Michael? I'm interested in showing the front, but I'm not interested in showing the front of people who are not actually registered for the league. So, Allison Kubota, she could say that she has a lawyer. Very, very good. Well, very interesting debate happening on the Facebook side of things between Kubota, Chan, and Tweed. We love our Allison Kubota. Yep. She did get wrecked recently. She is recovering quickly. We're glad to see. Hey, give us some proof of life here. Tell us how things are going for you. Okay, stretching it out a little bit more on the front of this. We've got the looks of Jason Flores. Again, this is the championship bracket for this. This is the team race as it is shaping up. We're giving you a little bit of the front of the race.
Trying to stay controlled. I stuck out in the draft a second ago.
Mike Davis doing his best impression of a fast dude, which is what he always does, right? Eugene Chan says the WBR train should be a lot more sacrificial at this point. A good point. Ronaldo loves his race WBR crew. Okay, back overhead we see the race as it's developing right here. Very exciting things afoot. And we got to pay close attention to the goings-on therein. Okay, I want to make sure that I have everything that I need here to be able to give you this big finish. And I think we're going to be able to stick with it all the way to the end at this point. Okay, back to the overhead view. It's only a second up the road there, Marston and Davis, and it is starting to stretch out. Boyko doing his best to keep his guy in it. He's got to be the one who does it, but he's going to get past. Maybe Boyko showing a little bit of weakness. Flores having to do it himself. Coming around these other riders, making sure that he goes with White. This could be the big move right now. We see a couple of the other teammates fading off the back of this thing. It's getting long and thin. Starting to lose teammates is White. He may not have everyone that he needs. At least for a moment there, they were in jeopardy, but they come back to what's going on here. Okay. Now, as we come closer to the big finish here, it looks like by my count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Team WBR riders versus 4 riders from Team ODZ. This is the big finish. Wish I wasn't working. No kidding, Richard Noble. We need to get you into this game and racing with your folks here. It's time for a new job if you can't ride your bike whenever you want. Just ask Casey Shum. Just ask Kim Little. Okay. Getting ready to kick this thing into high gear is White. And he's got a little bit of a gap on Flores. Not much, but Flores is going to kick it to make sure that he gets there. As we look at Flores' point of view, this is the pain on his face. Heart rate higher than it's been so far, 180 beats per minute. They are starting to come close to the big finish of this race. By my view, we've got less than 5K to go in the conclusion of this race, and things are starting to get sticky. On board with Jason Flores, we see the group go around here. Batman, Davis. Now, quite a few of these other folks just staying where they need to. Davis tried for a while to get off the front. Husbal, Bordieri, also about 25 seconds ahead. We may try to give you that big sprint finish, but you know what? I cannot get too far ahead of this group. This is this quartet. They've just got, about a mile left to go. Okay, more than that. More like about 2.5 miles left to go. And it looks like Bordieri is going to get out of the saddle and try to stretch this out a little bit more. See, this is why we don't normally call these different riders. I apologize if he's not running heart rate. We can't count him. Husbell, yeah, there's some heart rate for you. I'll believe that this is honest. That's a lot of heart rate. That's a lot of big work here. Okay, as we look back onto the chase group here, which is where the championship bracket can be referenced here, we see it starting to settle down a little bit, as it often does before the big finish. Well, White getting out of the saddle a little bit more, but he's just moving to the front there to see what he's got. His heart rate much higher. The bearded man, no helmet. That's dangerous, young man. You're going to hurt yourself. You're going to crack your head wide open. And no one needs that. No one needs the stitches. Here is Flores. and his point of view, he is definitely in a spot of bother. 180 beats per minute, fairly high for any 40-year-old. It's his 40th birthday on Saturday, I believe. It's coming up here real soon. It's coming around this time zone, but he's doing good work there at the front of the race. Okay, he's got all his guys. Let's do just a little bit of a roll call here. Working really hard is Hugel. Working really hard is Clement. Working pretty dang hard is White. Harder than he's worked all race. Richards, yep, pegged. Fogarty, cold chillin', right? Swatting, everybody's in the 170s. My goodness, this is good work. Marston off the back. Great job working for your teammate today, brother. Great job. Okay. Now, Baird is back in this group for a while. You remember he was out in front. I don't believe he's lapped the group. This is too long of a course to be able to do that. As we bounce around, I don't want to do that thing where we as commentators sometimes bounce around too much. I want to give you the people that you got to pay close attention to. We're going to fix it on Flores right now. They are coming close to the big finish, inside of 3 kilometers to go. This is going to start to get serious. Expect to see an attack come when they can. Very minimal conversation appearing to be happening on the ODZ side. They are all just breathing really, really hard. They're looking for the opportunities as they open up. Mike Davis with a little bit of a lead there. We've got some kind of sprint happening more on the front there. We'll take a quick peek at it and then we'll come back to it. It's Husbell right there trying to get up the hill toward the Strand. He's going to come through Trafalgar Square here in just a moment. He's going to actually come down through this main section right there back toward the Strand. He's going to try to get away. Bordiardi is already off the front, but he's going to catch him moments from now, and they're going to be together. Knutson maybe giving up the ghost a little bit here with Smith as well. Mike Davis sees maybe an opportunity to catch on to these two boys because they're good and tired. We've got Fraser White, the man who's trying to beat Jason Flores. And who's right behind him? None other than Jason Flores. His heart rate is a little bit higher, but they are looking for wheels. They are looking for team movement. They're looking for anything that is going to make this happen and get them off the front. They come by here. We give you this fixed view as they come through the group. This is what you see as they come through this final little riser section. It's only 3%, but my goodness, it hurts the legs. Don't believe me? Ask Jason Flores here. This is the little riser here. Again, Davis from Team Experimental animating off the front. They are so experimental, they have actually started using the brackets around the X in their name. That is so experimental. No one has done that before. No one has done that. Okay. Race WBR says we can't be bothered with brackets, and Swatton is going to do his best to maybe counterattack over the top. Baird coming with him. They are trying to get a little bit of animation right here. White early on before we get to the big finish. They're trying to put Flores in as many difficult positions as they possibly can. They've got him right there, and his heart rate is pegged at 171 just a moment ago. That is some hard work for him. But if anything, Jason Flores is going to fight to the end. Okay, back on board. We see the big sprint finish coming, starting to tick down. It's up ahead of them. This is where things really start to happen. Boyko with the big lead out. This is going to be the time they kick it into high gear. But White comes around him. Boyko trying to catch on, but it looks like White's going to be able to pull to the line. Where's Flores? Coming really fast. Does he have enough time to get there? Maybe not. Oh, just barely at the end there. This will be the big finish, and this is what it looks like as he rounded the corner for the last time. Jason Flores and his big finish. This is the big
getting up at
freaking
12:45 in the morning.
Looks like our guy. That would be afraid of White. He's looking right there. He's on the wheel of Boyko. Boyko starts to kick it into high gear. Wait, you'll see at any moment. We'll see Frazier come around. They took advantage. They decided, but there he goes. And then Jason out of the saddle, pushing as hard as he can, just digging. He's trying to get back on. He gives everything he's got. Picks it up to I look like 900 watts there. But in the end,
Chris was talking about
just a little bit
his heart rate being 50 less than me.
So close. So close. Great work. The competitor, Jason Flores, with outstanding
nice effort, though, Jason.
There at the end.
Thank you.